All right, this next story that we're going to check out is very important. Now, you may have heard about Texas moving to build a military base camp for those expected military troops that's coming to protect the border. Now, the reason why we're covering and highlighting this story because a particular person named Ron Vitello has voiced his opinion, and he's a key instrument into why the migrant situation has spiraled and gotten out of control to where it's at right now. We're going to highlight him and hear his thoughts because it's very important to the next few stories that we're about to get into. So we just want to highlight his thoughts and let me know your thoughts.
Eagle Pass. The facility expected to be able to accommodate about 300 soldiers by April and will eventually expand to house up to 2,300 National Guard members. Texas Governor Abbott making the announcement Friday as he continues his border security battle with the White House. And then you've got this new Pew Research Center poll finding 80% of Americans think the Biden administration is doing a bad job of handling migrants at the border. That's compared to just 18% who say that, well, that they're doing a good job. Let's bring in former U.S.
Let me know your thoughts, man. Do you think this poll is correct? I mean, do you think he's doing somewhat of a bad job? Very bad job? Good job or somewhat of a good job? Let me know your thoughts. How do you think Biden is handling the border? Do you think Greg Abbott is dealing with this situation better than the commander-in-chief, Joe Biden? Because the person that we're about to get into, man, he's a big part of why we are experiencing what we are experiencing. He is a big part, and we're going to get into it. We gon' get into it. Let us know your thoughts.
U.S. Border Patrol Chief and Deputy Commissioner, former acting ICE Director Ronald Vitiello. And Ronald, I'm glad that you're here because I want to go back to what Abbott is doing at the border. And that's where I started with this base camp, with really starting to put troops at the border. Some in Texas are fighting him on this. They say that it's not their responsibility, that it should be left to the administration. But the administration, as you know, thinks a wide open border is fine and all well.
Pay attention to what he's going to say. He is a key person into why the migrant crisis had spiraled into what is it spiraling into today. And trust me, Greg Abbott has this man's back. And if you don't believe me, we're going to get into it. Let us know your thoughts.
Thanks for inviting me, Cheryl. Yeah, Texas and the governor, have a will to secure the border, unlike the current administration. And so the state of Texas, through Operation Lone Star, is doing more than anyone else in this matrix, except maybe the front line of DHS, to the tune of billions of dollars out of the state coffers to help protect that border. And so adding a base camp to where these soldiers are now going to be assigned until further notice. We already have an administration that says they don't want to control the border. People are asking him to control the border. Your polling just said there's 18% of Americans that believe he's doing somewhat good on that process. I don't know who those people are because we're all watching those images every single day on our television where thousands and thousands of people are coming to the border every single day. The secretary himself said that 85% of them are being released into a city or a town near you. And so it's out of...
What? Let's run that back. Did you hear that?
Where thousands and thousands of people are coming to the border every single day. The secretary himself said that 85% of them are being released into a city or a town near you. And so it's out of control. The big cities are complaining. It's terrible conditions on the border. The front line is now, instead of protecting and patrolling our border and seizing fentanyl and all the other drugs that are coming in, they're processing people for release all over the country. So Texas is, doing something I think is quite smart. Those soldiers are going to be there until this administration changes their mind and puts back policies that work at our border. And so people need to remember what this looks like when the policies are changed and reversed, possibly by a new president. They need to understand this when they're picking their candidates, and when these contexts come up in November, the consequences of their vote.
He's right, people. Listen, your vote matters. No matter what side of the aisle you're on, right, left, your vote counts. Voice your opinion. This November, we'll be covering all of the debates coming up. We got you. Tap in, tap in, tap in. What TV?
I want to move on to, obviously, the funding for the border, because that is where you and your colleagues are coming in here. So the House Problem Solvers Caucus reveals this news $66 billion bipartisan national security package. It includes aid for Ukraine, Israel, Taiwan, in addition to stricter border security policies. It's called the Defending Borders, Defending Democracies Act. It restores the Trump administration's Remain in Mexico policy for a year. And then it requires the Department of Homeland Security, the secretary, to suspend inadmissible migrants at the border for at least a year if they determine it's necessary to achieve operational control. Biggest question, even if this bill has legs in the House, and that's my first question to you, but the second would be what happens when it gets to the Senate?
Well, the House has made it clear that they want to pass. They passed H.R. 2. That's their fix for the border, which includes some of the things you just talked about that are in this bipartisan proposal. My concerns about what's in that proposal, at least on the media coverage of it, why are we only doing this for a year? That's number one question.
What?
Number two question is, why are we negotiating border security? You either have border security or you don't. You're either.
He's right. We need a permanent solution at the border. We can't just put a Band-Aid on it, and when we want people to come in, they could come in, and when we want it closed, we want it closed. I mean, we just have to have an overall policy that could be set going forward. What are your thoughts? Do we need to set an overall policy? Because they're saying that this is in place for a year. I mean, what? Things that make you go, what, people?
You're going to send money to Ukraine or you're not going to send it to Ukraine. So why are we talking with, this bipartisan group that's going to try to solve this problem?
And again, let me know your thoughts. We're spending billions, with a B, people, billions of dollars to help fund the war in Ukraine right now. Billions. While we can't even protect our own border. Right? We're spending billions at the border, and we can't even, billions abroad, but yet we can't spend enough money to put into our border while these sanctuary cities are are fed to help fund the migrants that are here, but yet we can't complete the wall or put in a plan in place to help fund the border crisis. I mean, what?
But they only want to solve it for 365 days. Part of the last go-round with this last bill out of the Senate, it was the same thing. They were going to tighten border security controls, but they were going to limit that tightening every year after year when there's possibly a new administration. Why are we restricting what we know works to only 365 days? That's going to be a problem going forward. You're going to tie the hands of a future administration or a future administration past that, because the migrant protection protocols, the safe third country concept, is rooted in bipartisan immigration law. It is out of the Immigration and Nationality Act. And so these politicians, they need to be responsive to their constituencies. And that means every city and town in the United States, and that means the people that live on the border need something better. If they want to reinstitute migrant protection protocols, force the president to do it. You don't necessarily need legislation for that. Make it happen otherwise. And why are we negotiating to something that is finite to 365 days? I think that's a mistake.
That's why I wanted to ask you about this, because obviously you are a very important voice, and I know that you are having those conversations with congressional leaders about what needs to be done. They lean on you for information. and they lean on you for policy ideas. And I think that's why I think that's good. Did want to get your thoughts on this, but I do want to bring in Tiana Lodesher.
Listen, this man, Ron, he has been serving in the Homeland Secretary and ICE for many, many years. He knows how to deal with the border. He has a lot of experience, and his thought matters. Because if you have a problem with people coming in at the border, or if you don't have a problem with people seeking asylum, we had to look at people of Haiti. And I have to remind you, we do need a stronger protected border. Because look at the people of Haiti. They are on an island connected with the people of DR. Now, some people will say, man, we're all black people, Haitians, Dominicans, African Americans, Jamaicans, Caribbeans, whoever you are. Once you're black, brown, you're black. But let's see how the people of DR are treating the people of Haiti who are connected to their island. I mean, if you don't think we need secure borders, look how the Dominicans are treating Haitians. They shut everything down. They said, oh, hell no. Y'all going through crisis and turmoil. Don't bring that over here. Do not bring that over here. Do not do it. That's what they said.
This is the life of many vendors in Haiti, lining up and crossing from one side of the border to the other, attempting to make a living in the Dominican Republic before returning home in the evening. But this constant flow is about to come to an end after Dominican President Luis Abinader announced he'd be shutting the border with Haiti.
What?
All of our borders, land, maritime, and air, will be closed. And this until they stop their provocative actions.
At the centre of the dispute are works by a Haitian farming group on a canal that the Dominican Republic says will divert water from the Massacre River. The river serves as a natural border, and President Abinader says the works pose a threat to Dominican farmers and the environment. In the meantime, though, the country's closure is worrying Haitians.
It's bad for us Haitians. We need the canal because there's nothing in Haiti. We need the work.
The Haitian government doesn't appear to have any plans of halting the works on the canal for now, despite the Dominican Republic saying that they violate a treaty dating back to almost 100 years ago.
What? Listen, we're going to take a look further at what's happening at the canal at the border between Haiti and the Dominican Republic. We're just taking a look at this story because we want to see how it relates to our borders. I mean, countries around the world have their borders locked down. You think we could send some of these migrants up to Canada? You think they're just walking into Canada? They can't even, some Haitian migrants can't even get across to the Dominican Republic. DR is not even offering them help. And we have to take these things into consideration when we think about how open and tight we want to keep our borders. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know your thoughts. Tap in, tap in, tap in.